everybody. It's
No. Hey, everybody.
Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now.
Just say, hey, everybody.
Okay. Hey, everybody.
No. Say, hey, everybody. Don't go, hey, everybody. It's like, what are you, like, doing, like,
hey, everybody.
Sloth from the Goonies impression?
Marco, I don't know what we're doing. Are we
Hey, everybody. No. It's already started.
Okay, today we are doing, it's Safi and Marco dish out on the movies, by the way. Today we are doing a review of episode 3 of the new Daredevil series.
The Unborn. That's what Safi called it.
The Unborn? I said reborn.
No, Safi, it's Daredevil Born Again.
Born Again.
Yeah. Get it
Daredevil
right.
Born Again.
Get it right.
And we have two things. And of course we have focus on Kingpin, who's an important villain. And although he's not as loud and I don't know, he's more boisterous before. He's kind of calmed down, but he's still the same twisted, weird villain, doing stuff with manipulating people and having weird thoughts and which don't make sense. And then we have and pushing people around as mayor, but in a subtle way. He's not as showy as before, but that doesn't mean he's still not dangerous.
Well, see, Safi wouldn't know about what happens with Kingpin because she gave up on the show, the original show.
Wait, I hope Marco's not going to say that every 2 seconds of this review.
Well, because she doesn't know that, like, he did the same thing in season 3.
I thought he was more boisterous and out in the open.
No, in season 3...
Obnoxious.
In season 3... Safi wouldn't know because she gave up on the show. In season 3... In season 3, the Kingpin, he put on the same kind of act. And season 3, I would say, is still the best season of the show. Of course, I can't say that this season's not the best because I haven't seen the whole thing yet. But that whole story in season 3, what they did with Karen, they had that one episode, but I can't say anything about because Safi didn't see it because she gave up on it. And so
4 times you said that, okay? I'm counting.
Well, I don't forgive and I don't forget, and so I'm like Daredevil.
God.
You know, Daredevil. You know, he's a Catholic. He would agree with me. He would be like, "Yeah, Marco, I totally agree with you. Safi, she gave up on me. She gave up on me because of Elektra, because of Elektra's bitch ass." And so I would say I gotta say something about this episode 3. This is the best episode of the show so far. It is also, I would say, one of the best episodes of Daredevil that I've ever seen, because this is some of what I wanted that the Netflix show didn't give me. And this is also what I wanted from Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul, you know, after season 3, they just kind of gave up on the whole lawyer thing, and they just focused on Kim and her stupid story, and then on also the Breaking Bad Junior stuff with, like, the drugs and shit that nobody cared about. They never really brought it back to, like, Jimmy McGill becoming a lawyer and being a lawyer and doing this courtroom stuff and having courtroom episodes. Like, in the final season of Better Call Saul, like, they had that one episode, what was that? The stupid one? Like, they had the blank and blank and blank and blank, and the one where Howard gets killed, like, that was, like, not really like a courtroom drama episode still, but it's like everyone says that's the best episode. It's like, yeah, you're fucking retarded. Because, like, this Daredevil, somehow, they gave us what Better Call Saul was supposed to give us. They gave us a really good courtroom episode. And everything that Daredevil did, everything that Matt did, that's something that Saul would have done. Easily. The only things that Saul wouldn't have done was he wouldn't have made... I mean, Matt is really, really, really cool in this show. He has changed. He has become a lot cooler. Like that part where he has the encounter in the bathroom with the crooked cop, and he just steps right up to him, and he knows that he could destroy the cop if he wanted to. He could break every bone in his body, and he's just like smiling at him, and he walks away. And then that comment that he makes in the courtroom, I heard you have a black eye, because he can't see it, because he's blind. He's like, the best cure for a black eye is fast hands. I mean, they really, really made Daredevil cool in this show. And I gotta say, like, this show is also so much better than anything that Marvel has done in the past, 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Like, this
really.
this show destroys Marvel. Like, this show, once again, it's like, I want more of this. I want more, because if this was an MCU movie, there'd be jokes the whole way through. Daredevil would be sidelined. But it's the opposite. It's like they discovered, we got to give the fans what they want. We can't do this thing that we do with every other hero where the hero gets sidelined and we got to have jokes every single second, like cringeworthy dad jokes that Safi would make. We got to have good storytelling here.
Really, Marco? I don't make any jokes.
Really?
No, I don't know how.
Knock, knock.
Oh, okay, let's
Knock,
stop.
knock.
Stop.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Your mom.
Oh, that's really funny. No.
Because she's dead. See, guys,
Well,
I can make jokes too.
And this is the other part of the episode where Daredevil is in the courtroom and he is defending his client, and the whole thing with that's like the other half of the episode. Well, probably more than that, and it was really good. And because he's a really good lawyer, and and you can see that, and you don't really, at least for the seasons I saw, you don't really see it that much. You see more of the Daredevil out at night going after the bad guy parts. But this was really, and then all the scene in the bathroom where he heard him come in, and they don't realize, well, they don't know he was Daredevil, but they don't know about his sense, his hearing, his being able to hear so well, because they say if you lose a sense, that all your other senses get more highly developed because you're relying on them. And but I think there's more to it than that. That's what makes him even more special. And but anyway, this part, I thought it was really good too. I really enjoyed it. And there were at least one where there was one flaw, but I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Well, let's get through that now. So all of a sudden, the police are all pretty much almost all corrupt and evil, and
I don't understand why.
Which is true to real life too, and they did not want to be revealed that they were beating up on a confidential informant.
And why were they? That was another thing. Why were they doing that? If they got a confidential informant who they want to draw from every so often, they would want to keep them well, so they could get more information from them. So that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you can sit in the corner and think about that for a couple of minutes. Take a time out, because the point is, the police didn't want him to be up there as a witness because he was on their witness list. Safi denies that too. She believes in her little alternative history when it comes to Daredevil.
Would you stop it already? Well, it just seems like his name comes up all of a sudden, and what happens is they have two witnesses, one for the defense and one for the prosecution. The prosecution witness is the cop who survived, and he's the one who actually approached Matt in the bathroom. So he's a bad, bad boy. And he gets up there, and then Daredevil questions him, and he said, you weren't. Why were you there with this? The other guy, the other cop. Why were you there?" And he says, "Well, we were just there."
Anyways,
and so
they did not want this guy to be a witness,
No.
and so they actually ordered a hit out on him. But the funny / weird thing that I thought was very jarring was that the bad detective, he just left the courtroom and he teleported to the witness being brought over, in the van. Well, he thought he was in the van and he was going to kill him, and so it was weird how he should be there in the courtroom the whole day. He shouldn't be going around just running errands and shit.
Yeah,
and
because
so
he had just testified that he wasn't going to be able to share a beer with his partner anymore.
I like beer.
Well, no, you don't. Anyway, but after that, I mean, he would be in the courtroom. First, he had testified, but if he cared so much about the justice of the quote murderer, getting his due justice for pushing his friend in front of a train, then he would have stayed there. But no, he leaves. He sneaks out of there and goes, and he's wearing his uniform, right? On this police motorcycle.
No, he had the regular clothes, but then he had the police helmet on.
The helmet.
I think.
Okay. Well, but he was riding police motorcycle.
But that was weird. I thought
that's weird.
It was weird how he just so happened to be there. It felt like they should have just had that be another police officer. They should have just had it be, because that would have been scarier. It would have been like, oh, they're all bad, they're all evil. I would say the one big thing that's still kind of hindering the show, Safi, I don't know if Safi really fully agrees with it because she has some sort of a problem. But the show is very choppy. It's a very choppy show, and it's I like everything going on in the show, but the way that it's edited, it's so choppy, and it's just okay, we go here, chop here, and it doesn't feel really as smooth as it should feel.
Well,
but
that part is not. You're right about that.
It did feel a lot smoother than the first 2 episodes, though. So, overall, I would say this was a fantastic episode. I give it an A. And want to get to the other stuff, Safi, the stuff that you like?
Okay, well, that part I didn't like because I thought it was ridiculous, and that the cop was there, and he couldn't do what he was going to do anyway because they did a diversion, and they put the witness, which was the guy they were roughing up, their confidential informant, on the train platform. They put him in another van, so that was all a diversion, and they got him there, and then when he started to testify, he suddenly reversed his course and didn't say what he was supposed to say, which was they were roughing me up, and it was an accident. And that guy didn't do anything. He didn't do anything like that. And so Matt had to just throw that all out because he couldn't continue. The guy wasn't going to, they got to him somehow. Or he just decided he wasn't going to say the truth. And so, but that part where the cop just shows up to grab him and do something bad to him, and when he should have stayed in the courtroom, I didn't like that. So, but I really liked the episode too. I really liked the lawyering because I thought he did really good, and he's a good lawyer. So you get to see that, and I didn't get to see much of that before. It was mainly the stuff that went on. Of
course, you're only speaking from a certain perspective.
Okay, Marco, we're not going to say that. For how many times have you said it?
I gave up
on the show. Okay, so you said it 4 or 5 times. No, 5 times now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
Anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's just continue. So after the guy testifies and he doesn't do what he's supposed to, which can happen. They talk about this in real life.
It's a whole separate crime.
Well, he didn't. The thing is, he didn't lie.
Yeah, he
mainly.
did.
Well, he did.
He said he
did
wasn't
commit-
there. That's
he did
committing
commit
perjury. And
So,
then
yeah,
they intimidated him, so that's witness tampering.
that's,
And
there's
so
that.
there were
And
two
so
more
that's-
crimes committed here.
Yeah.
And a third crime, which is Safi. Safi is a crime.
So you have perjury, you have witness tampering, and intimidation, and so he goes off, and so Matt's completely like. But what he does is, well, he decides he has nothing left. He has to have his the defendant testify for himself, and so then this is the next big thing. And so, before this happens, the testifying, he says, if you do get acquitted, you can't ever put the costume on again. And the guy says, but I have to. It's what I do. I meant to do it. Or, he had this very, I'll say, sanctimonious or whatever, almost religious thing. He had to do it. I mean, that was his calling, and he just had to put the costume on. So they dropped it.
That was probably my favorite scene of the episode because I really liked how I liked how it got to the point of how he wasn't saying like that was just Matt's opinion of if you win this case you can't go out and be a superhero again. That was just his opinion, and I liked the showrunners, they had originally had basically a different show, and they said something like it was a lot of characters sitting around talking about being heroes and talking about, blah, blah, blah. But I really liked that one scene because I felt like if you have like a scene like that once in a while, it really, really adds depth to the show, and it furthers the themes and the characters. And so Safi just left, so I'm gonna have to walk her out. Bye-bye. Uh-oh. She forced her way back in. Why'd you do that, Safi? You literally have a water right there! It's on the desk! It's on the desk! Oh my god!
I brought water in.
Guys!
I was looking for it on the floor.
She brought a water in, and she left the room to get a new water when she already had a water. Oh my god!
There's not a lot to say about this episode, so Marco's just going to go on about BS.
There is a lot to say, such as
if there is,
I liked
quiet.
it. I liked it. I don't like the therapist. I still think she's kind of like the third wheel of the show. I mean, you have Daredevil, you have Kingpin. Okay, you want to see them, but then you got the therapist, and it's like, wow, she's really the third wheel in this relationship, and so she's like the show's third wheel. But anyways, there was kind of like this underlying plot with Kingpin and his wife, and it's so funny how like they're having marital issues and how he's got to get them figured out in order to basically like further his agendas. Like that's like his big conflict now is his marital problems. Like I just think that's so funny. Like as a character, like he's this big villain, and that's like his big conflict right now.
Well, like, they have a conflict. That's part of the other half of the episode was the stuff with the wife, Kingpin, and then in the end of it, they're at the therapist, and they're sitting way far apart.
The rapist.
The therapist? What are you talking about?
That's what therapist is. It's the rapist.
Oh my god. So anyway, the underlings, the men, these criminals, they got into a problem and 2 people were shot dead. And so the wife, I don't know her name. That's why I'm calling her the wife.
I forgot.
Kingpin's wife.
Vanessa.
Vanessa. Yes, that's right.
Vanessa.
She tries to settle the conflict by, well, I'm not going to go into that detail, but she tries to settle the conflict with a money figure. And it's handed to the men in charge, the conflicting men.
And the Kingpin's mad because he's like, look, like, I like that this bad stuff is happening because just like in real life, we can manufacture this quote-unquote bad stuff that's happening and then use that to say, like, oh, now we have to take away your rights, now we have to do all this stuff that we want to do. Like what they did in Palestine. So, that's basically what Kingpin is trying to do. He wants bad shit to happen. He wants chaos to reign.
Yeah.
And
I
the
think
wife
he says that, too. I think they mentioned chaos.
Yeah.
Or something.
And his wife says... His wife is different. His wife is like, no, we need order, and I don't... And so I thought that was cool. I like that a bit more. I'm kind of... It's like when you put your foot in the water to get used to the temperature, and you gotta get used to it, which... Gonna finally be able to go swimming soon.
So you see that
I'll be fine.
There's a conflict between how the wife, who was in charge while he was away the whole time.
Yeah.
And he was jealous in a way. That's part of I think it's his misogyny, and also he wants to be in control. And so at the end, and they're at the therapist, you can see they're way far apart because they have two different mindsets about how things should be done and who should be doing it. And so then you go back to the courtroom, and I'm predicting after they have a few significant incidents. One involved the police, where No,
Safi, you're jumping ahead. So, anyways, after the witness failed, Matt was like, "Okay, I've got to do something that I didn't want to do," and I love this moment too. He pulls out the white tiger mask, and he's like, "Look at this! Look at this!" And he's basically, like, rubbing it in the police faces that, like, he's showing this and talking about it after earlier he had bought to keep it out. And so they had this whole thing with that. He basically, like, bullied the judge into doing what he wanted to do. And he put him in such a compromising position. And so then basically it all had to become about a different narrative because the narrative with the informant didn't work because... the witness lied. Right. So, after all was said and done, they had a couple more witnesses who attested that he was a hero and he saved people.
And one involved a cop.
He was found not guilty on all counts.
Which I knew was going to happen.
That was really cool. And then after that, though, the very end of the episode, Kingpin calls in BB and he says... I don't like that guy got off, and,
he's just a vigilante.
Justice will prevail! And then you see, that kind of sounds like the Cookie Monster instead of Kingpin, but, then you see the White Tiger, and as predicted, he could not give up White Tiger.
He puts on his outfit, and it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It was like it's brand new.
It's actually kind of sad because you know that the actor died in real life from cancer, and so it's kind of it's like a tragedy regardless. And so and then he gets shot by this figure, and the figure is not the Punisher, but it's a policeman wearing the Punisher logo. And so Kingpin ordered for him to be killed right out in the street. I thought that was really, really good. I think that the sad thing, though, is, Safi, she kind of waits to do things, and so, to the last minute, and so, in all this time that had passed, I had just gone on Twitter to post other videos that I had done, and I accidentally saw, like, all the spoilers for the episode, so, Safi says it's predictable. Well, they pop up on the timeline. I can't ignore them.
Well, I didn't see... I
they
did
were all
see
on
advertisements
Twitter.
For the show.
They were all on Twitter.
I didn't see... Because I don't follow. I don't do Twitter anymore.
Because I have to post the videos on there. And so I go on there, and, they're just all there because people don't care about spoilers anymore. And so, Safi... The reason why I bring it up is because Safi said it was predictable. And
I thought it was predictable. First of all, as soon as he said, don't put that outfit on. You can't if you get acquitted, you can't wear that outfit ever again. Of course, when in their ensuing conversation, you're thinking about Daredevil. What's Daredevil thinking about this now?
Yeah.
You know, how is this impacting what's going to happen with him in future episodes? Because the guy makes a case for doing it. And you're thinking, you know, you can't just, he just said you can't just sit out. When you feel like this, you can't just sit out. You have to do something. And you're thinking about Daredevil having the same thing. He's sat out now for a year. It's a little over a year now since his buddy Foggy got killed. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, he is going to get acquitted, and he is going to put it on, and he is going to get killed. I had forgotten that in real life he died of the guy died of cancer. So I'm wondering if they knew that he was that he was really in bad shape.
No, Safi, that's not.
No, and then I was so anyway. I guess it
But
unfortunately
what I was trying to get to is that I don't know if I hadn't been spoiled, if I would have felt that it was predictable or not, because I didn't get the opportunity to watch it cold. You know, because what happened was on Sunday, I was still filming, and I was really tired from filming. There's no way in hell I was going to watch a show and review it and put that kind of work in. But Dark Winds Season 3, Episode 1 just came out of nowhere. Never heard anything about it coming out.
I don't get that.
And then Daredevil comes out, and it's like... so I didn't have the time to do it. I didn't have...
But it doesn't matter, really, if it was predictable. You still got to see the whole courtroom scene and all these other really good scenes. And but it's just something, you know, like I said, I read a lot. And I just felt like, and it's almost like, too, and it's very... Now, he's saying for all the two previous episodes and some of this other one, like the cops suddenly coming out to the street and trying to keep that witness from testifying, some of that seems choppy, like Marco says, but all of this was very tight, I thought, and it was so tight, I thought it was predictable just based on all these books that I've been reading, like, oh, they bring this guy up.
Like Mr. Churchill's secretary.
I've never read that book. Anyway,
oh, that's a good story to tell, Safi. On Safi's birthday, on Safi's birthday one year, it was so hilarious. She got this packet as this gift, and she opens it up, and it's like, okay, it could have been like a good mystery book or like a good book that she would have liked.
A lot of series, and
but instead, it was Mr. Churchill's secretary. And, you know, you could tell that Safi didn't like it because the way that she said the title, she was like, Mr. Churchill's secretary. And she just looked at it, and after that birthday, like, the book literally just sat out on the coffee table for, like, 5 years, and then she threw it away.
No, I think I gave it away.
That was so funny.
Well, anyway, that's way off the beaten path. But to me, it was predictable, just based on, you know, you see these things as shows. You'll say, "Oh, I know what's going to happen next," and I knew he was going to get killed. But I had even forgotten about the fact that the actor had gotten cancer and he passed away. So, so anyway, whatever. And then, of course, we don't see Matt finding out what happens, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Is he going to suddenly put on that Daredevil costume? I don't think so, but I'm sure he will.
The Punisher's not going to be happy.
Well, also, Marco says Elektra's supposed to show up later.
Maybe it's season 2, I don't know.
I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, Elektra should be dead, so she'd have to come back to life to show up, or they'd have to do a flashback.
Oh, okay, so maybe she's going to show up in a flashback.
Safi, what would you rate the show? I mean, I gave it an A 10 minutes ago. What would you give it?
I give it a B+, because I'm not happy about the cop, because I wonder here, I'm sitting here wondering, did the cop just show up to do that but he really knew that the witness wasn't going to testify because they'd already leaned on him? Or was this the witness's personal decision to lie and say it never happened? Which, that can happen. That can happen. It's perjury.
From what I took it, I thought it was his personal decision, because
Well,
otherwise, why would they have needed to kill him?
Well, I don't know if they're so manipulative and they've got to put on a show. You never know. So, but other than that, I thought it was really good, and I thought it was very tight, and I love to see the lawyer in court, and the surprise he pulls out that mask, and that's what they say. You know, it's if there's no sometimes there's no choice, and they have to bring out the defendant, and he or she has to testify.
Well,
now, in real life, I think they had that Murdoch guy in the South, wherever that was, who killed his son and his wife, amongst all the other horrible things he did, and the financial misdealings, and they had him testify, and he effed up really badly. So, I mean, it doesn't always work, and this is what defense attorneys are afraid of.
well, what I liked about him was that he's not afraid to get in trouble, Daredevil. Like,
Right.
he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, he skirted the line a little bit, but they by bringing this up.
Well, you don't just pull out a random piece of evidence out of
No, I
your
know
bag
that.
and
You
just be
can't.
like, look at this, everyone, look at this.
It has to be
It's
part
like-
it has to be part of the discovery.
So
so it wasn't known.
I'm excited to see, like, what he continues to do, like, in the courtroom like that, like, these kind of ballsy moves. I mean, they really made him, like, a cooler character than he was in the older show, kind of. But he was still really cool in the old show. It's just he's on a whole other level now, where he's gotten there to where I would say again, top 3 superheroes would be Spider-Man, or probably Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman. And I think that they're really leaning into him being like a legendary character now.
Yeah. So I really like the show a lot.
He's better than Iron Man. He's better than Captain America.
I didn't see any trailer for it at all. So, I didn't see any write-up or anything, so I didn't know what was going to happen. And, but I really liked it, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how he reacts, Daredevil reacts to. I can't imagine he's immediately going to jump in being Daredevil, because he did warn him. He said, you know, you can't put that costume on anymore. So he knew what was going to happen. He knew that what could happen. And for one thing, he didn't know whether the guy would put it on, although by what he said, his little speech, him says, you know, I just have to put it on. I have to be that person because that's who I am. So we'll just see. There's a lot of ifs, but I thought it was really tighter. I like the courtroom. I like the
You just
wife,
like the courtroom.
Kingpin and the
I
wife.
like the courtroom.
Okay, Marco.
And
then,
we didn't even mention the part where Matt just goes into the courtroom and sits there like he's at church or something.
No, he gets there extra early before everybody else and sitting there.
And that was a really great scene too.
Contemplating what's going to happen.
I mean, they had a lot of great moments in this episode. So I'm really excited. And you know what else is really cool? People on Twitter are like, oh my god, we gotta wait a whole week to watch an episode. And it's like, yeah, that's how TV shows are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's so much better that way. It builds up the anticipation. It builds up the excitement.
It probably builds up the audience.
Yeah, and you talk about it a lot. Whereas when you just release all the episodes at once, Cobra Kai... you just forget about it. I mean, nobody's even talking about Cobra Kai anymore. I am, though. Because, but honestly, this show's already better than the last season of Cobra Kai, unfortunately. So, Yeah. Whoopsie.
So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers and leave us a comment and a like and that's it. So goodbye everybody.
Bye.